thank you for being here today. I shouldn't have to thank you. You've come out off of your own backs to stand up with your own community and the very people that I came into politics for. I want to start by saying that I stand here today with lots of emotions, but two main emotions roiling through me. The first emotion is shame. Shame that under a Labour government, my government, that I find myself here standing, yes, shoulder to shoulder with you, protesting policies that should never have been on the table. Policies akin to those I expect from a party of the right or the far right, be that the Tories or Reform. Shame that the party built by and for working people is now debating whether to push millions further into poverty, insecurity and fear. A government that has turned on its own class, but chooses to take from those with the least rather than ask for more from those with the most. That speaks the language of difficult choices, but asks the most vulnerable to pay the price. But alongside that shame, I feel something else, and I think you do too. Resolve. A deep, unshakable resolve that I will not stand by, I will not remain silent, and I will not vote for a measure that makes my class, my community, poorer than it already is. Not now, not ever. But let's be clear, these cuts don't stand alone. They're part of a broader pattern, part of a politics of retreat. Retreat from ambition, retreat from courage, and retreat from social justice. And in that retreat, something darker is taking root. Because when regressives step back, when we silence our convictions, when we shrink our vision, we don't just create a vacuum, we create an invitation. An invitation to those who thrive on fear. An invitation to those who divide neighbour from neighbour, human from human. To the rising tide of authoritarianism and the far right, which feeds off despair and disillusionment. What we are witnessing is not isolated. It's part of a broader wave sweeping across Western politics. From Hungary to Italy, from the United States to, sadly, our own shores. And when our side retreats, their side advances. So the question isn't just what kind of policies we pursue, it's what kind of future we allow to unfold. Sadly, my government is in its first 9 months has told us loud and clear what kind of world is prepared to allow to unfold. And frankly, unless you're a big fan of dystopia, okay, thank you. And frankly, unless you're a big fan of dystopia, it's not one I and millions of others share. On climate and nature, on winter fuel support, on Heathrow, on human rights, on austerity. We're not governing, we're retreating. Retreating from action while the planet burns, while the most vulnerable freeze, while the last defensible redoubts of a civilized society are surrendered quietly and without a fight. My message to my government is this: stand your ground. Don't give in to the right-wing press and their unquenchable thirst for scapegoats. Don't give in to the politics of fear, to the demands for performative cruelty. Don't balance the books on the backs of the disabled. Because cruelty never ends with its first victims. We've seen this story before. First it's the migrants, then it's the trans community, then it's disabled people, benefit claimants, striking workers, protesters, renters, and then it's anyone who speaks up. It won't stop there, it never does, and it never will. And we have to ensure that we put a stop to it now. This is creeping authoritarianism, a slow corrosion of democracy that starts at the edges and moves inward until no one, no matter how respectable or quiet, is safe. If we roll out the red carpet for the far right, through silence, through inaction, through cowardice, then don't be surprised when they come through the door with their size 9s. And let's remind ourselves, cruelty is not strength, division is not leadership. Social democracy was never meant to be about managed decline. It was about imagining more. It was a promise that we can and must build a society that works for the many, not the few. It was about dreaming big and delivering bigger. It means public ownership of water, so our rivers are clean and our public money flows into public hands, not corporate accounts. It means a truly public NHS, not a pipeline for private contracts or a testbed for Silicon Valley's next experiment. It means dignity for the vulnerable, not suspicion, sanctions, or cruelty dressed up as efficiency. Because the purpose of government is not to humiliate the poor. It is to lift people up, to provide warmth, shelter, hope, and health, to lead with compassion and courage, not spreadsheets and scorn. So I say to the government I helped elect, you cannot build social cohesion through punishment. You cannot unify a fractured country by turning on its poorest. The research confirms what we all know in our bones, that strong societies are built on coherent societies, on fair societies. They want security, not cruelty. They want dignity, and they want a future their children can believe in. They don't want a government that governs by fear. They don't want a government that flinches when it should fight, not a government that forgets who it's for and who it's meant to serve. Friends, this fight isn't over. It's just beginning. We're still in it. Not just because we have no choice, but because we refuse to surrender the future. Because we believe in something better than this tired cruelty. We believe in a politics that lifts, not punishes, that heals, not divides. Friends, we must dream again, not the cautious dreams of consultants and focus groups, but the bold dreams of people who know their power and demand it back. We must think big and act even bigger. We must dare to speak truth, even when it's uncomfortable. And yes, we must be ready to challenge power, even when it sits on my own benches. Because the future won't be won managing decline. It won't be won by shuffling some deck chairs and broken promises. It won't be won by those who do not have the courage to believe again that another world is possible. It's just not possible, it's urgent. We have to build it again. And I tell you now, as your Member of Parliament, it doesn't really make a difference what kind of rosette I wear. I have my values, I have my principles, and I will always stand for them. I'll stand for you, and I'll stand with you, irrelevant of what my government does if it goes down that path. Not because I have some bizarre desire to be an MP for the rest of my days, but because I know that what's good for you is good for my friends, my family, my community, and me. And that's why I will stand shoulder to shoulder with all of you in the coming days, weeks, and months. We will defeat these proposals, and we will build a better Labour government than the shambles of a one that we currently have at the moment. So let's get to it. Yeah!